Shalom, shalom, akiyam. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Quadash. I would also like to give a double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, scattered throughout all four corners of this earth. It's just Bayan back again through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And I just wanted to get into a quick lesson in response to a lesson that the beloved Elder Manata Zakpa did, going into that wacky-tacky Christian calling himself rebuking an Israelite, where he completely took Revelation 7 and 9 out of context, which is something, these Christians commonly do. They take scriptures out of context. They don't go precept upon precept, and they don't look up words. And this is a simple understanding, like the beloved elder said. It really is. Revelation 7 and 9, it's easy to see that it's not talking about everybody. Okay, when you come to the understanding that we were scattered. Okay, Deuteronomy 28 and 64. It's very important to understand that. Because when you come to that conclusion, and you look up a few words, it'll all start to make sense. You see? So, Lord willing, is to be edifying to you, Akiyam and Akwaf. Through the Spirit, I just want to get into this in response and honestly in defense of the gospel. Because, these damnable heresies, they have to be contested. Who knows how many people saw that video? You see? So, hey, the truth got to come out. All right, so through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the first scripture I want to get into is Revelation 7 and 9, exactly where that individual started. So let's go Revelation 7, Salakia. Right, the book of Revelations, chapter 7, and straight to the point in verse 9, right? And it reads, "After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number." And this consisted of the 1/3 of the nation of Israel, the elect, the rest of the 1/3. Okay? Consisted of who? Men, women, and children. Okay? Which no man could number, of all nations, and kindreds, and people, and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. And our palms, right, represent victory. Okay, because at the end of this thing, the nation of Israel, starting with Yahweh Shai, is going to get the victory. Okay, evil should be put out, and deceit is going to be quenched. Okay, which is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right, but the point we want to make here is, who is this great multitude consisting of all nations, kindreds, and people, and tongues? It's the Israelites, man. Okay, this is why you have various scriptures going into how Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to gather us, all right, from all four corners of the earth. Because we've been scattered pursuing, we quoted it already, Deuteronomy 28 and 64. You see? And when you get that word kindreds, the beloved elder got it, but let's get it as well, just to make the point. Bear with me.
Strong's G 5443. Fule.
Right, and it goes into what? A tribe, right? In the NT, all the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob. A nation, people. See, and that's plain. Okay? That's plain, but we can go a little further. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Because whether you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans believe it or not, we are under the curses. Okay? We are still under the curses. You see? We didn't have to be present when they were presented. No. This is a bloodline thing, man. This is something that was going to follow us throughout all the various captivities we had to serve up until us being delivered, man. Okay? whether you believe it or not. What other explanation do you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans have while we're at the bottom of the bottom and there's nothing under us? What is your explanation? Ours is the Bible and the scriptures. We can prove these things. You see? Your explanation will hold no weight. You want reparations, man. You see? You want to be joined hand in hand with the devil. Anyways, Deuteronomy 30, right? And I'm going to get about my points in verse 3. I'm going to start from the top though. The book of Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 1, and it reads, "And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither the Lord thy power had driven thee." And this is happening real time. Okay? The hopeful elect are calling our transgressions to mind. You see? We understand we went off. Okay? We understand that we need to turn to the Lord, that all hell's about to break loose. We have a natural fear of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You see? We understand that our forefathers, which we are our forefathers if you can receive it, sinned against the Lord, broke the everlasting covenant, man. And this is why he wounded us with a wound of an enemy, man. You see? Let's continue on. "And shalt return unto the Lord thy power, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will turn and gather thee from all the nations." You see, "whither the Lord thy power hath scattered thee." You see, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to gather us from all the nations where we've been scattered. Okay? And there's going to be individuals that are in China that speak Chinese, man. That are Israelites. You see? But through that seed, through the bloodline, they're Israel. They may look like Chinese. They may look like Edomite. Right? They may look like an African, but they're Israelites. You see? And this will be known through the seed. Through the bloodline, man. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is only dealing with Israel. What part of that? How many scriptures do we got to bring out to make that point? Let's go here real quick. The book of Isaiah chapter 43. I'm going to start at verse 1 and go down. Israel redeemed. Look at the title. Israel redeemed. Redeemed from what? Our captivity, man. Let's continue on. The book of Isaiah chapter 43 and verse 1, and it reads, "But now thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine." You see? What's that? A Sirach 7? Let me get this real quick. Let's go here so I don't have to. Let's go here real quick. The book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 17 and verse 17, and it reads, "For in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people. But Israel is the Lord's portion." You see? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is only dealing with his people. Okay? Which consists of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And there will be speckled birds. which those that may look like the other nations because of the scattering. But their bloodline goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And their spirit will bear witness with the spirit that they are children of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. You see, now before I go back to the scripture, right, let's get this real quick. I just want to play this real quick.
Hey, blessings. So as I've been seeing the Hebrew Israelites preach about how they are the chosen ones and how no other race will be able to make it into the kingdom of heaven, it's really been leading a lot of people who don't know the Bible astray as well as into destruction. And we have to be aware of these false prophets that the Bible warns us about in the book of Matthew and really pay attention to their fruit and how they release their doctrine, which is in pride, rebellion, and racism. And they try to use the word of God to justify their feelings towards white people. So here is sound doctrine to debunk their racist agenda. Let's go. So now we see in Revelations chapter 7, verse 9, it says, "After this I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. They were wearing white robes and were holding palm branches in their hands."
All the way through. As you Akiyam and Akwaf can see. Now, let's go back. And then we can see at this point he has no idea what the hell he's talking about. He thinks he knows. He's leaning upon his own understanding. He has no clue what he's talking about. He's completely wrong. And he doesn't even realize. He thinks he's right. And that's a sad thing. You know? What should have been for his welfare has become a snare and a trap for him, man. Because that boy or girl or whatever it is completely wrong. All right, Isaiah 43. Let's go back in Isaiah 43. Let's jump down to verse 5, right? Isaiah 43 and 5. "Fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed from the east and gather thee from the west." Let's get this word seed. And, this is for edification. You Akiyam and Akwaf. That, been in the fold. You know where we're going.
Strong's H2233. Zerah.
This is for the new listeners, right? Seed, sowing, offspring, seed, semen. Who carries semen? The man. Offspring, descendants, children. Who? The children of Israel. You see? This is who's being gathered. This is that various nations of people and kindreds and tongues in Revelation 7 and 9. Right, let's continue on. Isaiah 43 and 6. "I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from far and my daughters from the ends of the earth." Okay, you see? Even everyone that is called by my name. Who's called by the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai? The nation of Israel. He has surnamed us, man. "For I have created him for my glory. I have formed him. Yeah, I have made him." And what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to go back to Revelation 7 and 9. Right? And I wanted to read down a verse. I wanted to read verse 10. To make another point. I mean, because this gives credence to it being that's talking about Israel. They're following the following verse. You see? Let's get it, right? The book of Revelation chapter 7 and verse 10, it reads. Matter of fact, I'm going to read 9 again and then read down. The book of Revelation chapter 7 and verse 9, it reads. "After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our power." which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. You see? Saying salvation to our power. We just read in Sirach 17 and 17 that Israel is the Lord's portion. We can go to Amos 3. Let's get Amos 3 real quick. Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai has known only us. Yeah, you see? Those were Israelites crying, man. Crying out. Talking about salvation to our power. Man, it's plain to see. The book of Amos chapter 3 and verse 1, and it reads, hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities, man. You see? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is only dealing with his people. And don't tell me, oh, this is the Old Testament, and you're in Amos, Revelation, that's the New Testament. Yahweh had to change your heart. No, not pursuing the Malachi 3 and 6, that's false. Pursuing the Malachi 3 and 6, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai does not change. You see? Christianity is a complete failure. Okay? And it can't stand up to the truth. Because it's a doctrine of men. It's a doctrine of men, man. You see? It's precepts. It's a false doctrine. That's what I'm looking for. It's a false doctrine. You see? So when it's side by side with the truth, man, there's no matchup. There's no comparison. Because the precepts, the scriptures say otherwise based off the mindset and the doctrine that you wacky-tacky Christians portray the scriptures to say. Okay? Your doctrine doesn't add up to what the scriptures say. Because at the end of the day, let's close out here. Matter of fact. I get so many precepts coming to mind. Let's close out here. The book of Isaiah chapter 45. Right? Because that's the point. The point's clearly made. Right? The book of Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 17, it reads, but Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. What does that mean? Why does that say that? Because Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is dealing with his people, okay? Forever, point blank period. He's not going to change up. Man, but let me get this real quick. Let's get this real quick. The book of Isaiah, chapter 59, and verse 21, and it reads, as for me, matter of fact, let me go up. The book of Isaiah, chapter 59, and verse 20, and it reads, and the Redeemer, who's the Redeemer? Yahweh Shai, shall come to Zion. And Zion, is in the Hebrew, in the Paleo Hebrew, it's Tezayuan. Okay, which means monument or memorial, which the nation of Israel is to our power. We are a memorial to our power, man. You see? He's only coming to Zion, and specifically to who? And unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord. The Redeemer is only coming for the Israel of Yahweh, pursuing the Galatians 6 and 16. Within the elect, there's an elect. See? Within the chosen nation, there's a chosen, man. I bet you wacky-tacky Christians didn't know that. Everybody's not going to be saved. Not even everybody of the nation of Israel is going to be saved, let alone a damn heathen. Are you people out of your goddamn mind? Let's continue on. In verse 21, the book of Isaiah chapter 59 and verse 21. As for me, this is my covenant with them, saith the Lord. With who? The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites. My spirit that is upon thee, and my words which I have put in thy mouth, shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed. There goes that word seed again. We know what that means. Nor out of the mouth of thy seed's seed, saith the Lord, from henceforth and forever. This is not going to change. You see? Only the elect of the nation of Israel is going to be saved. Lord willing, we're part of that precious number. You see? But at the end of this thing, let's go back to Isaiah 47. At the end of it, the whole nation is going to be saved. You see? But on this side, only the elect of the nation are going to be saved. Because pursuant to Zechariah 13:8, 2/3 are going to be cut off and die. You see? But they're going to be born back into the kingdom through the loins, okay, of the elect. See? The elect men. That's how the rest of the nation is going to come back into the into that glory, man. You see, but on this side they gotta they gotta learn it after death by pain. You see? But ultimately the whole nation is going to be saved. Let's get this. Let's go back here. And this is why this is written. The book of Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 17, it reads, but Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. What does that mean? It's everlasting. This is not going to change. At some point down the line, the Lord's not going to say, oh, you know what? Let some Africans, let some Edomites, let some Chinese, and let some. No, man. That's not how it's going to work out. This is a blood covenant, man. Pursuing the Exodus, the 24th chapter. You see? But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. An everlasting deliverance, man. Ye shall not be ashamed, nor confounded, world without end. Why? Because the world of Israel, with Yahweh Shai leading the charge, is going to be an everlasting kingdom. Perpetual kingdom. It's never gonna end. You see that? And upon us being delivered, these curses are not going to just vanish in thin air. No. Where are they going? Matter of fact, let's close out here. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 30. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 30. Let's continue on. Let's just continue reading from where we left off. Right? The book of Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 4, and it reads, if any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And the Lord thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. Right? Why? Because we're going to have immortality, man. We're going to be on a whole different level. Immortality, spiritual powers. You see? Completely sovereign. I mean, we can't even begin to imagine how Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to set us up. I hope and pray I'm a part of that first resurrection, man. You know? But needless to say, man, Man, we can't even begin to imagine how Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to set us up. Let's continue on. And the Lord thy power will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed to love the Lord thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. Right? We're going to have those new bodies, man. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to put this word within us. We're not going to be able to go off if we wanted to, man. We're going to be all righteous. And pursuing the wisdom of Solomon, what's that, the first chapter? Righteousness is immortal. See? And this is what we hasten for, man. But where are those curses going? Let's continue on. Right? The book of Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7, and it reads, and the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Right? Psalms 83. Okay? We know the nations that were in confederate against us and our power. You see? We know deep down inside you nations hate us, man. Hey, why do you think Obadiah 1 and 15 says what it says? The day of the Lord is upon all the heathen, man. You see? Matter of fact, I must be allowed to close out there because there's one precept in there that backs up the salvation only for Israel. Let's get that. Let's close out here. The book of Obadiah, 17. The book of Obadiah, the only chapter, 1 and verse 15, outside of verse 15, right? For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. See? As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. And what have you done? You forwarded the affliction of Yasha Allah, man. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. Deuteronomy 30 and 7. See? For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yeah, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. Deuteronomy 30 and 7. You're going to hold that, man. You're going to hold it, right? And here's the point. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. You see? But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, man. So what do you think Revelation 7 and 9 means? See? But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, man. These nations, these kindreds, these people, right? And speaking these different tongues, they're Israelites. See? They're Israelites that have been scattered throughout all four corners of the earth. Hey, whether you wacky-tacky Christians believe it or not. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Quadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. Lord willing, you Akiyam and Akwaf were edified. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kal Halalium La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Quadash. Shalom.